12 Sports Team presents your Southern Tier Kickoff.
Yeah, and today, obviously, 12 Sports Game of the Week taking place at Grady Field, just off 81 in Cortland. The Cortland Red Dragons taking on the Lycoming College Warriors. Today is going to be one of those days where, you know, on a cold January or February day and you're trying to think back, warmer thoughts, today's going to be that day. It's going to be very warm out there today. We're talking temperatures upper 70s to around 80 degrees. Yeah, we might see a few clouds around, but there is no chance of any sort of precipitation. Winds aren't going to be an issue either. We should have relatively light winds, but all in all, it looks like an amazing afternoon for some football up in Cortland.
Chief Meteorologist Howard Manges subbing in this Saturday. Thank you so much, sir. And Colgate also on the road this week. The Raiders looking to avoid an 0-3 start, and they face what could be one of their toughest challenges of the season. Raiders headed to Ohio, where they will face off against Akron on the road. That game kicking off at 6 p.m. this evening. It is the only FBS opponent on the schedule this season for Colgate. Akron also starting the season 0-2, but they've started against two Big Ten opponents, that Ohio State and Rutgers. Their tough schedule continues with a road trip south to South Carolina next week. The Raiders will get a look at some new technology in this one, as the FBS has approved in-game helmet communications. While the technology has not yet been approved at the FCS level, teams are able to use the new communication system when they are playing at the FBS. One offensive player, one defensive player will be able to hear their coaches through the helmets this week. Pre-snap, quarterbacks and linebackers traditionally going to be the ones who will be hearing from the HC. It's been more than 20 years since the Raiders last won against an FBS program. That leaves us with the question, are they going to shock the college landscape this evening?
And the Ithaca Bombers look to turn things around this week after a home opener against lost the number 8 John Hopkins last week. This afternoon, the Bombers are hosting another top 25 matchup as number 16 Endicott College comes to Butterfield Stadium. The Bombers putting up a good fight against John Hopkins, falling by only a field goal after putting up 109 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground, along with 250 yards through the air and 1 touchdown. Endicott looking to keep the momentum rolling this week after a dominating St. Lawrence 44-13 win last weekend. Quarterback Clayton Morengi dropped 190 yards through the air and 3 touchdowns while completing 76% of his passes against St. Lawrence. Morengi also led Endicott on the ground with 53 yards and a touchdown, but Michael Viachone also found himself with 2 scores on the ground. This game will come down to which defense can get the most pressure on the opposing quarterback and who can stay strapped to wide receivers, not allowing separation. This game takes place in Ithaca at 1 p.m. at Butterfield Stadium.
And Hartwick opened their season last week on the road versus Maine Maritime, a resounding 62-6 victory for the Hawks. They're looking to keep the good vibes rolling as they continue their road trip against Keystone College in La Plume, Pennsylvania. Keystone looking to get their first win of the season after falling in their opener. The two teams met last season in Oneonta, where Hartwick earned their only win of the 2023 season. A win today, and they'll already have eclipsed their win total from last season. In last week's matchup, Hartwick turned the ball over a few times early in the game before scoring 62 unanswered points. They're hoping to keep the offensive firepower rolling as they close out their 2-game road trip to start the season. Look out for defensive back Michael Varico in this one. He had 2 interceptions in the season opener, including a pick-6 for the Hawks. Both receiver Carlito Aldemay and running back Carlton McDonald totaled over 100 yards of offense for the Hawks last week as well. And stay tuned here on WBNG for CBS's Game of the Day. College football kicks off at 3:30 this afternoon. Notre Dame traveling across the state of Indiana to take on the Purdue Boilermakers. Notre Dame enters the game ranked 18th, and they're looking to add a win to their record to get back above 500. Again, that game kicks off this afternoon at 3:30 right here on WBNG.
And we are going to have our picks for that game with Purdue and Notre Dame, as well as some of the other marquee matchups that are set to kick off at noon, 3:37. And hey, if you're not doing so well, I guess you can always bet on Hawaii at midnight as well. So still to come here on the Southern Tier Kickoff Show. The team and I bring you this weekend's picks. Stay tuned.